Hey everyone, I'm NornQueenAlexis and welcome back to the channel and welcome to the Saga of the Beast. So, today we are going to be taking a look at the Saga of the Beast Psychic Awakening book. Now, we're not going to be doing the lore yet because the lore is in my lore discussion series, which you should be watching because we go into very good, very detailed, we talk about the lore, okay? Insert fancy way of saying that we talk about the lore, but right now I want to turn off my brain and talk about some space wolves. And where better to start than with Wolfman Yifson? Somebody out there got that joke. Other people are like, Alexis, what the hell? Now, I'm going to be eating and drinking my yummy, delicious, tasty, perfectly healthy meal. And not worrying about a certain virus that's going around devastating everything. So let's dive into this with the Sons of the Wolf King. God, this is cringy. Okay, so let me explain this to you guys before I get into this. The reason that Space Wolves are not Vikings, right? Let's throw that out the window. So if you don't know, I'm engaged to be married to an actual Norseman. I'm getting married to I'm getting married to Victor. Victor is from Reykjavik, Kópavogur, Iceland. He is an actual Viking. Like, he's part of the Viking squad. And technically, he's not a Viking, because to Viking or to Viking is an action, not a type of people. Vikings were more equivalent to that of pirates. They would go to other lands, they would pillage, rape, and destroy, and then bring back their prizes with them back to their lands. That's what the act of Viking is. So when somebody says that the Space Wolves are Vikings, it's cringy, to be honest. It's actually kind of silly, because they're the complete opposite of what pirates would be doing, or Vikings would be doing. Vikings wouldn't be saving the Imperium, they would be pillaging it. They would be... Actually, Horn Blackheart's fleet is more equivalent to that of Vikings. Abaddon is more of a Viking than Wolfman Yifson from this book. By the way, Ragnar Blackmane, or Ragnar, is a common name. That's it. My fiance knows a Ragnar. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ragnar Blackmane was a person in Iceland. So, I do find their aesthetic a little bit cringy. And if they were going to do a proper Norse theme, they should have other animals aside from the damn wolves. Like, if you look at some of the 30K stuff, there is a lot of stuff there that's more Norse than there is here. Here, there's more of wolf, footy, wolf, wolf, barkity, bark, bark. Wolf for the wolf, wolf, barkity, bark, bark. That's the Space Wolves. Wolfman Yifson. So, Ragnar Blackmane, we're going to dive right into some of the stuff that they got. And right off the blah, that's what they got. They got the bleh. You know, it's part of this virus that's going around. Nurgle, I still can't get over that Nurgle topped at Adepticon. Just absolutely took the entire convention and probably the rest with him. Like, absolutely demolished the convention. Just not even a challenge. Okay. So, abilities. Angels of Death. We know this if we know Space Marines and all, but just in case you're new to the series and don't know Space Marines and want to get some tactics against Space Marines, which they are a very tough opponent, I will admit. So let me describe what this is, shall we? Let's dive into this. Let's take a bite out of this. More dog puns involving barking and oohing and stuff like that. I'm going to be doing this throughout the video, so I do apologize if this is annoying. This unit has the following abilities. They shall know no fear, bolter discipline, shock assault, and combat doctrines. Now, if you don't know, combat doctrines did slightly change. You can't stay in Devastator Doctrine, which is the best doctrine the entire game, because GW realized their mistake immediately when everybody went like this. Stalker bolt rifles. Everything has Stalker bolt rifles. Everything. Devastator Doctrine. Let's go. And they shall know no fear. They get to reroll their morale. Bolter discipline. Instead of using the following... Can Can we get this, Alexis? You can do this. I believe in you. Instead of following the normal rapid-fire weapons, models in this unit that fire bolt weapons have double the number of attacks if any of the rules apply. If they're at half range, if they didn't move, and if they're Terminators, Bikes, Centurions, or Dreadnoughts. Which also implies that this book can take Centurions. Centurions in Space Wolves sounds devastating, to be honest. I doubt they can take Centurions, to be honest. Like, that's kind of just a normal Marine thing. Okay, bolt weapons. They're bolt weapons. If you really need to question what a bolt weapon is, really? Come on. Come on. Shock Assault, add 1 to the attack characteristic if you assaulted, heroically intervened, or were assaulted. Combat Doctrines, these are pretty simple. Unaligned Beasts don't get it. Servitors don't get it, which is kind of funny that you can have ambles in your army and it doesn't affect your ability to have Shock Assault. I just think that's funny. So they have Devastator, Tactical, and Assault Doctrines. So if the Devastator Doctrine was active in the previous battle round, it has to change to Tactical. Then from Tactical, it changes to Assault. Then the game's usually over by turn 3, so it doesn't matter. And I mean, if your game's... Let me just say, if you can get a game to turn 4, turn 5, you're having a great game. Or your opponent is not clearing you off the table. Either way, you're having a good game. Devastator Doctrine is heavy and grenade weapons have their AP increased by 1, so las cannons become AP 4, which is devastating, to be honest. Stalker bolt rifles go to AP minus 3, I think, or AP minus 4. They're insane. I can never remember. The auto bolt... No. Yeah, I think it goes to AP minus 3. Yeah, it does. Stalker bolt rifle, there it is. Okay, in Assault Doctrine, your pistol and melee weapons get an AP of minus 1. This is tacked on to what they have normally. So you have chain swords with AP minus 1, which is actually really, really, really devastating to most close combat armies. Especially if you have to rush in a line of Tau or something like that. It's a bit of a pickle. Let's see. So update to their weapons and data sheets. They got the auto bolt rifle. The demolisher cannon is now D6. Yep, that's a word. D6, which is good. Strength 10, AP minus 3, D6 damage. It's an okay weapon. It's not great. I still, even with all of this, I don't see anybody using Vindicators. They just don't see play for some reason. In Guard, the Demolisher Cannon does see play, but not as much, because you could just go for the 56 shots with the Punisher tank, or you go with the Battle Cannon, which is just arguably better because of its range. Let's see, they got Hand Flamers, the Icarus Rocket Pod, Mastercrafted Auto Bolt Rifles, Mastercrafted Stalker Bolt Rifles, Stalker Bolt Guns. There's new data sheets for Space Wolf Reaver Squads, which is interesting because they're not just Reaver Squads, they're Space Wolf Reaver Squads. So I expect them to be slightly different. So let's get into this. Ragnar Blackmane. Now, this dude's stuff has been published and is right here. Look at that. Wowzer G Willikers. You can't see this because my webcam sucks, because I need a new webcam, and I am working on that. It's just a pain in the keister. I'll tell you that. Movement 6, weapon and ballistic skill 2+, strength 4, toughness 4, wounds 6, attack 7, goes up to 10, leadership 9, not 10, which is weird, 3+ save. He's equipped with the Frost Fang. Oh my god, are you serious? I couldn't give him like a cooler sword name. Let's see. Frag and crack grenades, bolt pistol. You only can include 1. Frost Fang is a weapon that goes up to strength +2, making his strength 6. AP minus 4 with Assault Doctrine, AP minus 5. 2 damage per, and he has 10 attacks if he charged or shock assault. Okay? So, really good, but not punchy enough, if I'm going to be honest. So, a normal captain gets 4 attacks. You give him a Thunder Hammer, and you attack with him. He has 5 attacks at strength 8. AP -4 if Assault Doctrine is active, AP -3 if not, D3 damage per, actually 3 damage per. So on average, a Smash Captain might actually be more useful than Ragnar Blackmane, just based on raw statistics. Also, the infinite vertical movement and the jump pack makes him a lot better for maneuverability and smashability. But Ragnar does have one thing that I really like. So, Battle Lust, all friendly Space Wolves within 6 inches of this model and not within 3 inches of an enemy model may consolidate up to 6 inches instead of 3. So this is huge. Anybody he assaults with that is within 6 inches of his base. Now, he's got a 32 millimeter base, so it's a pretty big base. It's all about that base, no trouble. Anyway, anything within 6 inches of him gets to consolidate 6 inches, and it technically doesn't say towards the nearest enemy model, but I think you still have to move towards the nearest enemy model. But even still, having 6 inches, especially with an assault-based army, is huge. Now, this is going to sound silly, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, Alexis, what the hell? This is not good tactics. Stop it. But too bad, I'm telling you anyway. So what you want to do with close combat-based armies such as Blood Angels or Space Wolves, even Dark Angels might want to do this on occasion, is assault with your vehicles first. Absorb all of the overwatch on your Rhinos, your Land Raiders, your better tanks that are out there now, especially with the Phobos Marines and the Primaris Marines, having access to the flying tanks, which are just better than the Rhino and the Land Raider in every way, except the Land Raider is a bit more tanky. No pun intended. Pun definitely intended. But no pun intended. You want to assault with them first and then get the bulk of your army into combat. And with this, you can actually take your bigger vehicles and spin them for that 6 inches so that they can encompass more squads. And a Land Raider with toughness 8 is not going to go down to a couple of attacks from consolidating into combat. It's going to absorb all of that, and it's going to giggle, and then you have all of your other units smashing and surrounding and enwrapping or wrapping around entire units, which is what you need to do with close combat armies. You need to wrap around your opponent. You need to make sure you are protected from another round of shooting and that your opponent can't simply just go, oh well, and walk away. You also want to make sure you don't commit too many of your forces to overkill something. I know a lot of us out there, we see a target, a juicy target, and we're just like, I need to kill it. And so you rush in really quickly with way too much power, and you absolutely stomp it. You just smash that thing into oblivion. And then you're stuck sitting there out in the open going like this. It's only now that I realize my hubris. It's only now that I face my damnation. It's only now that I am being blown away because I made a tactical oopsie-daisy. I picked a whole bundle of oopsie-daisies. And you get absolutely annihilated. So a lot of the times you do need this type of maneuver to get around and wrap around opponents. So Ragnar, I don't think people are going to be using him for his combat abilities. It's mostly going to be taken for that strict ability. You want to get into combat. You want to get around combat. You want to make sure you engulf your opponent. You want to get him in the jaws of the World Wolf. I'm going to make that joke because it was silly. War Howl. Oh my god, that is cringy. I just made a cringy joke, but this is cringier. This is written down. This is cringy. Anyway, you can reroll charge rolls for friendly Space Wolf units other than vehicles if they are within 6 inches of this model. So really good ability, especially if you're bringing in vehicles, because they're going to be the ones that are going to charge first. So if they miss, oh no. Then you get in your actual packs into combat, your Thunderwolf Cavalry, your Space Wolfity Wolves, your AWU Squad. What are they actually called? Wolfen. You get your Wolfen in. Now, the biggest thing, his biggest weakness right now is actually getting into combat. He's not the fastest at 6-inch movement, so you're going to need a vehicle for him to get him all the way up, which means you're going to have to move him up, then get him out the next turn, then charge with him. So you're going to need a the other vehicle. What's it called? The hovering tank that isn't the Executioner or the new one, the floating rhino. You can reroll ones for attacks made by friendly Space Wolf units whilst they are within 6 inches of this model. This works for shooting as well. So if you're running up with a Long Fang squad and you just want to pop shots at -1, it's still worth it because you can reroll those ones. And it doesn't say unmodified rolls of ones. You just reroll those ones if you need to hit. So again, if he's in the back and just slowly moving up, you can bring plasma squads and run them up with him. Or you can bring assault squads and demolish your opponent. Berserk Rage, he makes 3 attacks when he does Shock Assault, and he has a 4+ Invo save. Wow, it just started raining really hard. So he is an interesting character, without a doubt. He is very interesting and very powerful. But he does have some massive weaknesses. One, he's toughness 4, so things wound him as normal. He's got a slow movement speed, so he needs a way of getting across the battlefield. He can't take a Rhino. He can't take a Land Raider, which isn't a weakness because no one fielded those. But now he can get into the better vehicles, which is the Primaris vehicles, which is good because he is a Primaris Marine. And yeah, so interesting. I want to see how you guys implement him. Personally, I think he's going to be running down the field with a ton of melee stuff, just charging as quickly as... I don't know if you guys can hear this, but I am being barraged with a winter storm. I think Nyal, the Stormcaller, or Nya, the Stormcaller, as I like to call him, is a little bit ticked off that I'm insulting his space wolves. Wolves. I was definitely going to say wolves. Wolf Priest and Terminator Armor. So what's cool about these guys is they did get the litanies. That's the biggest difference. I'm not going to go into too much detail about them. They didn't really change aside from getting litanies. You want the one without Terminator Armor. You want to jump pack him. It's cool that he got to keep the jump pack. At the end of your movement phase, Wolf Priest can attempt to heal a single model. Oh, wow. He can just heal a model. He doesn't need to roll for it like a normal apothecary. That's really good. So, Space Wolf Infantry, Biker, or Cavalry. He can't heal a Dreadnought, obviously. 4+ Invo save, Angel of Death, Spiritual Leader. He's got a leadership of 9, which is pretty decent. Okay, then we got Primaris Wolf Priest. So, we got another Wolf Priest. Is he different at all? No, not really. He's just the Primaris version of it. He's got the litanies now. Wolflord and Phobos armor. This is pretty interesting. So we finally got a Phobos, we're getting the Phobos characters and everything for the Space Wolves. There's no real difference between them and normal Phobos characters. You can get the Mastercrafted Instigator Bolt Carbine. It's cool, but not necessary. You actually want your Chaplain equivalents, which is also an apothecary, so it's actually just a must-take in your army, and Ragnar Blackmane, as well as maybe just a Smash Captain, just to help out. Ironically, I think your Wolf Priest can be a Smash Captain if he has options. Plasma Pistol, may take Power Fist. Yeah, so you just give him a Power Fist and a Jump Pack. And he's not a Smash Captain, but he's pretty close. Let's see. Primaris Wolf Priest, Wolf Lord, and Phobos Armor. Primaris Battle Leaders. Again, they're just Primaris equivalent. This dude has Graph Shoot, which I think is cool. Again, it's another Phobos pattern, so if you know your Phobos stuff, it's the same as all other codexes. No real differences there. You get the Rune Priest and Phobos Armor. He, I think, is pretty cool because you can start 9 inches away. And you might actually want some Phobos Marines for your Space Wolves as a way of keeping your opponent at bay while the rest of your army moves up. So like 1 to 2 squads of Phobos Marines in a line and just try to make that charge turn 1 of 9 inches, which I think you have a 37% chance of making to a 40-something chance to make, is pretty decent because it gives you 1 extra turn of moving up the board, and your Thunderwolf Cavalry and your Wolfen are going to need that to get into combat. So I do see intercessors or not intercessors, I see infiltrators and incursors as worth it to take in the Space Wolves. Personally, I saw the other Phobos variant, the Reavers, as worth taking it in this army because they had the ability to get in turn 1. So other things you got is the Invictus Tactical Warsuit, or the Emotional Support Dreadnought as I like to call it. You want these things. They're really good. Like, there is nothing bad about them. Eliminators are not as good as your long Fang squads, but they're still pretty cool because they could pop characters that your Space Wolves are having trouble dealing with. Though turn 2, you're going to have no problem with dealing with characters because you're going to be rushing in. So I don't think Eliminators are the best option for your Space Wolves. I would personally go with Long Fangs with a wolf leader person attached to it. The dude in Terminator armor with the Cyclone missile launcher and 3 las cannons, 1 heavy bolter, just to deal with whatever is coming at you. Suppressors can be really good for the Space Wolves. It knocks your opponent down from overwatching you, which is huge if you're going up against like Tau, Space Marines, gun lines, pretty much everything in 40k right now, because no one's really running close combat armies, because close combat armies have the problem of getting into combat, but the Space Wolves and Blood Angels are slowly dealing with that if you use the right army lists. Suppressors, I think, are going to be a must include at least 1 unit, because you need to stop at least one thing from overwatching. And if you can do that, you can get into combat extremely quickly and very effectively. Going over, we have the Repulsor Executioner. If you don't know the power of a Repulsor Executioner, you don't know how to play this 8th edition right, because this thing is ungodly overpowered. Needs to go up in points, desperately needs to go up in points, should be going up in points. Have I made my point clear that its points are too low? It's ridiculously good. Also, you shouldn't be able to land it on top of ruins. I'm sorry, it just shouldn't be able to get on top of ruin where the base is that big, where they can set their entire tank on top of it. I'm sorry, that's dumb. Rant aside. Impulsors. You want these things. Okay? You at least want one for your Wolfguard Myth Gifson to get up into combat if he doesn't have a jump pack. But you can actually elect not to use this if Ragnar Yifson actually wants to move up with the rest of the close combat units. If you take Phobos Armored Marines to assault turn 1, if you have tactical warsuits to assault turn 1, or to keep your opponent busy, so this way they are kept back, so they're not shooting the rest of your main force going up. And also, they're just really good in combat. Marines are just solid in combat right now. So you want to look into that. Moving on, we have the Lord of Winter and War. Speaking of, Winter SEO is actually a really good channel for battle reports if you haven't watched his stuff yet. Really chill guy. I really like his style. Let's see. Savage Fury. Once the Assault Doctrine is active, an unmodified roll of a 6 for attacks made with melee weapons with this unit scores 1 additional hit. So max squads are actually pretty decent with Space Wolves because you want to get as many 6s as possible. Hunters Unleashed. Oh my god, that's so... ugh. Anyway. In any turn in which a unit with this ability has made a charge move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention, add 1 to the hit rolls in the fight phase. Ooh. Unmodified 6s. Never mind. You can't cheat that. They can move up to 6 inches when performing heroic intervention, which is insanity. Like, that is crazy good. That means if you go up against an assault army that's like, haha, I'm gonna kill your Space Wolves, you look at them and just go, you know what, I'm not gonna tell you. You just look at them and just go, oh no, my poor puppers, whatever shall I do? Get them, pups! And you just literally just charge in with all your characters. Let's see. In addition, characters with this ability can perform a heroic intervention if, after the enemy has completed all their charge moves, there are any enemy units within 6 inches of them. They can move up to 6 inches to perform the heroic intervention, so long as it ends up moving closer to the nearest enemy model. Now, what's cool about this, and this is a dirtbag move, and this is Alexis being a power gamer, definitely not a power gamer, but totally a power gamer. Her interventions just go towards the nearest enemy model. Now, if you have Unit A over here that just charged against your space puppers here, okay, boop, and you have a character back here, but there's also a unit over here, you can actually heroically intervene, not towards the model that assaulted, but towards the nearest enemy unit. And then you get to activate. So yeah, just some tactics that I think I should properly explain, especially now that I have a table set up in my house. I can show you all these tactics and do them, which would be cool. So, Vanguard Warlord traits, which I've never actually seen as that good, but whatever, let's dive into it. Number 1, at the start of your shooting phase, you can select one friendly Space Wolf Phobos unit within 6 inches of your Warlord. After shooting with that unit, it can move as though it were your movement phase. If it does, it must advance and cannot declare a charge in the following charge phase. That was really good until that last couple of words. Like that was a solid ability up until those last few words where you're just like, wow, this is amazing. And then it's like, no, it actually isn't, Alexis. This is terrible. These are Vanguard Warlord. Excuse me. These are Vanguard Warlord traits. They're never that good. Number 2, at the start of the first battle round, before the first turn begins, select up to 3 friendly Space Wolf Phobos units on the battlefield. Remove them from the battlefield and set them up again as described in the deployment for that mission. If the player has this ability, you roll off and the winner redeploys their units first. Again, it's not good. Don't take this. It sounds okay, but there are other Warlord traits that are better. Big brain thinking. Use the ones that are good. Master of Vanguard, number 3. Add 1 to the move characteristics of friendly Space Wolf Phobos units while stay within 6 inches of your Warlord. Add 1 to the advance and charge roll for friendly Space Wolf Phobos units that are within 6 inches of your Warlord. This one is actually good. It turns your 9-inch charge to a 7-inch charge, which is amazing. It's still not great because you need a Phobos captain who's not a smash captain, who's not a healer, who's not a chaplain, who is not helping out your overall army. He's just in the front. So if you can take an additional Warlord trait, it might be worth it, but if not, it's not worth it. Don't do it. Stealth Adept, number 4. When resolving an attack made against this Warlord, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Utility. Target priority. At the start of your shooting phase, select 1 friendly Space Wolf Phobos unit within 3 inches of your Warlord. Within 3 inches is usually bad. Until the end of that phase, when resolving attacks made with ranged weapons by the model in that unit, add 1 to their hit roll. That's okay. And then number 6, add 1 to damage characteristics of ranged weapon this Warlord is equipped with. This does not apply to grenades or relics. I can't see the Vanguard abilities as good compared to the regular abilities, especially being that you're going to be slamming your opponent and you want all of the buffs for your captains, your characters that are from the regular codex rather than the Vanguard rules. They're like the Vanguard Marines are supposed to be your roadblock for your opponent. You line them up in front of your opponent's army so that they can't advance and have to deal with them. Space Wolf stratagems. There's a lot. There's actually quite a bit. So let's go through this, shall we? Duty Eternal. Use a stratagem in any phase in which a Space Wolf Dreadnought model in your army is chosen for a target for an attack until the end of the phase. When resolving attacks made, you have the damage characteristic inflicted rounded up. This is already going to be FAQ'd to just reduce the damage. Bolt Storm. Select 1 intercessor unit from your army until the end of that phase. Auto bolt rifles that model are equipped with gain the following ability when resolving attacks made with this weapon against a target within half range. Do not make a hit roll. They automatically score a hit, which is pretty decent. Also, I am red. I don't know why. My lighting in here is good. It's just, for some reason, my camera decides to turn me red. I'm getting heated. You know, my inner thousand sun is coming out when I'm reading about Wolfman Yifson here. And I can't help but just want to beat the Space Wolves. Rapid fire. Select one intercessor unit from your army until the end of the phase. Bolt rifles that model is equipped with have the type characteristic of rapid fire 2, which means they can go to rapid fire 4 if they did not move, which is pretty standard. But actually, it's pretty standard. It's pretty good. Like, there's nothing bad about it. Beacons never tire. When a Space Wolf vehicle in your army is chosen to shoot with until the end of that phase, that unit does not suffer the penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons. I guess you use this on your aircraft, but aside from that, it's not really that useful. Veteran intercessors, use this. Use this twice. It's good. It's just good. Hammer of Wrath. Use a stratagem in your charge phase when a jump pack unit from your army finishes its charge move. For each model in that unit, you can select one enemy unit within 1 inch of that model. Roll d6 on a 5+. It suffers a mortal wound. This you're not going to see. It's not that good because you only are going to be using 1 to 2 jump pack units in your army. So it's kind of whatever, not great. Hero of the Chapter. Use a stratagem before the battle. After nominating your Warlord, select one Space Wolf character from your army that is not your Warlord and determine one Warlord trait for it. You can only use the Warlord traits once. Amazing. It's amazing. Why would you not use this? Use this. It's good. It is just good. It's good. Use it. Fury of the Chapter. Space Wolf Terminators. Ugh. Unit from your army until the end when resolving attacks made. Add 1 to the hit roll. That's pretty good. There's a train going by. I don't know how many background noises are going to go by. Countercharge. Use this stratagem when your opponent's charge phase. Select one Space Wolf unit from your army. Until the end of that phase, that unit can perform a heroic intervention as though it were a character. In addition, it can perform a heroic intervention of 6 inches instead of the 3. Solid ability here. This is probably going to be one of the best abilities for the Space Wolf. Save your command points for this ability because this is amazing. You want to get those counter charges in because if you have to end your turn and your opponent slightly moved up with a unit against your Phobos Marines that they ignored, you get to charge with them. If you are within 6 inches with any unit, you use this ability. It is not rocket science. You see a thing that you can charge. You charge it. Do it. Crushing Assault. Use a stratagem in your charge phase when a Thunderwolf cavalry unit from your army finishes its charge move. For each model in that unit, you can select one enemy unit within 1 inch of this model and roll d6 on a 2+. It suffers 1 mortal wound. Why would you not use this if you are taking Thunderwolf cavalry? It's 1 command point, and it's amazing to cause 3 mortal wounds. Like, just flat out, 3 mortal wounds is huge. Like, you're going to be smacking a thing that you normally can't hurt and dealing at least 3 mortal wounds because you want to take your min squad of 3 and just smash into a unit. Hell, you could take and deal 5 mortal wounds if you take 5 Thunder Puppies. It's just good. Touch of the Wild. I should probably see a lawyer about that. Use this stratagem in the fight phase. Select one Space Wolf character in your army until the end of that phase. When resolving an attack made by this model, an unmodified roll of a 4 scores 1 additional hit. So on a 6, it's 2 additional hits. Ooh. That could be really good. That means Wolfman Yifson, Ragnar Blackmane, can actually get... Wow, use this on him? Holy crap. Damn. Let's see. He averages a 2+. So out of that, 4 tags. So that's 5 additional shots out of his 10 attacks. That's 15. Let's just say it's 2.5. So 15, 16, 17.5. 17.5 attacks on Ragnar Blackmane alone. Hell yeah. You're killing whatever you hit. Unless it's toughness 7. Then you're dealing a ton of damage to it, but you're not killing it. Holy crap, Ragnar might actually be completely worth taking. That ability makes him worth taking alone. 1 command point to make a character nigh a god. Pretty much a Primarch. Actually, better than a Primarch. Because Gilliman's not even hitting that hard. Magnus and Mortarion aren't hitting that hard. He is. Okay, use the stratagem in the fight phase when a wolf guard unit from your army is chosen to fight with. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by models in this unit against an infantry unit, and an unmodified roll of a 6 scores 1 mortal wound on a target in addition to any other damage. Not that good. It's kind of okay. It's neat. Definitely neat. Excuse me. Pack Hunter. Use a stratagem in the fight phase when a Fenrisian wolf or cyber wolf unit... No one's using these, by the way. Until the end of the phase when resolving attacks made with this model, if that model is within 3 inches of a friendly Space Wolf infantry unit or Space Wolf cavalry unit, you can reroll the hit rolls. So it's kind of cool that they're giving the other units in the army some pretty good abilities. I really like this. I think this is pretty cool, but overall, you're taking a pointless unit to get this ability. So it's whatever. It's whatever. Storm Strike. Use a stratagem in the shooting phase when a Stormfang gunship model from your army is chosen to shoot with. Until the end of that phase, when resolving attacks made with its Health Frost Destructor by that model, add 1 to the hit and wound and damage roll. It kind of makes it worth it. It's still not that good compared to what you're going to need on the battlefield itself. So overall, whoa, I just hit my green screen. Whoa, this is weird now. This is me channeling my psychic energies. I don't know what just happened. Anyway, Storm Strike is okay. Gene-Wrought Might. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when a Primaris unit from your army is chosen to fight with until the end of the phase when resolving attacks made with melee weapons by models in that unit, and when modified roll of a 6 automatically scores a hit and a successful wound on the target. Do not make a wound roll. If the unit is benefiting from Savage Fury ability, the additional hit and wound do not make oh, okay. So it just stacks. The additional hit successfully wounds the target. Okay, so they have to be being affected by the other ability to automatically wound. Okay. There's quite a lot in here. We have 2, 4, 6, 8 more abilities to go through. Target sighted. I just imagine that they smell their way to finding their targets, and I know that that's an actual ability they have. Use a stratagem at the start of your shooting phase. Select 1 intercessor unit from your army. Until the end of that phase, Stalker bolt rifles that this model is equipped with gain the following ability. Can target characters. On a 6+, it inflicts a mortal wound. Even if it can target the character, even if it's not the closest enemy unit, when resolving attacks made with this weapon, on a wound roll of a 6+, it inflicts 1 mortal wound to the target in addition to any other damage. Now, the wound roll, the 6+ mortal wound can actually go towards any infantry model or anything you're shooting at, but overall, you're going to be targeting a character and just blowing them away, or you're just going to take an eliminator squad and just blow them away. Hunter Slayer Missile. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase. Select 1 repulsor unit from your army to launch its Hunter Slayer missile. Not Hunter Killer, Hunter Slayer. Then select 1 enemy vehicle or monster unit that is within 48 inches of this model and not within 1 inch of any unit from your army. Roll 1d6. On a result equal to or greater than that model's ballistic skill, the unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Each repulsor model can only be selected for the stratagem once per battle. Pretty decent. If you have it, why not? If you have the extra command point, I have 1 piece of hair hitting me in the eye and it's driving me nuts. Let's see. Skilled riders using bikes and land speeders. Don't use this ability. It's 2 command points. Stop it. It's wolf bikers. If you're using wolf bikers, use a better army like Dark Angels or White Scars or anything that does bikes better. Hell, even freaking Blood Angel bikers are better. Death Grip Bite. Death Grip Bite. They should have just called this Nyam. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when a Thunderwolf cavalry unit from your army is chosen to fight with. Until the end of that phase, Crushing Teeth and claw weapon models in that unit are equipped with have the damage characteristic of 2. That's really good, especially if you combined it with the other ability where if you charge, you deal mortal wounds. So you're dealing a ton of wounds on top of the already powerful weapons that the Thunderwolf Cavalry is carrying. So overall, just really good. Like, Thunderwolf Cavalry just seemed like one of the best units. Ah, I dropped my book. Steady Advance. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when a Space Wolf infantry unit from your army is chosen to shoot with till the end of that phase for the purposes of bolt discipline. That unit is treated as remaining stationary in the previous movement phase. Really good with aggressors, Centurions if they have them. Just overall really good because you get those extra shots. Overall, I don't see this army as a shooty army. It has support long range, but it doesn't have dedicated long range fire. It just has, I'm going to try to kill that. Transhuman Physiology, pretty decent. We all know what this does. Skyfire, use this stratagem in your shooting phase when a hunter or stalker model in your army is chosen to shoot with. It's a miracle that you actually own this model. GW will give you a handshake and a pat on the back, possibly even head pats if you use this ability, because you'd be one of the only people in the entire world to own these tanks. That ability is really good. Pay 1 command point and get a head pat. Good job, you brought a useless tank. Vengeance of the Machine Spirit, use this stratagem in the... use this stratagem when a Space Wolf Land Raider model, Repulsor, Storm Raven gunship, or Storm Wolf model, or Storm Fang model from your army is destroyed. It explodes. Okay. Pretty decent. Why am I red? Like, this is way beyond, like, the normal red. Like, what if I just turn this off? Like, what happens? I get even more red? Are you serious? Okay. Let's try turning on an additional light. Am I not red anymore? No, I'm still red. I am so sorry about this. The lighting in here is terrible. I have tried to fix it forever now, and it is still not working. Hey, and we just got a subscriber. I forgot to turn this off. Obscurus Discipline. These are your Space Wolf Psyker abilities that are definitely psychic powers and nothing else. They are just psychic powers. So number 1, Shrouding has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one friendly Space Wolf Phobos unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. At the start of your next psychic phase, until the start of your next psychic phase, enemy models can only shoot that unit if they are the closest target and they are visible to them, or they are firing Overwatch. So they actually did correct a few things, because you used to not be able to fire Overwatch at that unit. Soul Sight has a warp charge value characteristic of 6. If manifested, select one Phobos unit within 18 inches of the Psyker, Space Wolf Phobos unit. Until the start of your next psychic phase, when resolving attacks made with ranged weapons by models in that unit, you can reroll the hit rolls, and the target does not receive benefits to cover or saving throws. Cover to its saving throws, which is really good. Again, but you're targeting Phobos Marines, which is not that great. And my green screen is now moving again, so I do apologize about that. I'm just trying to get through this at this point. Mind Raid has a warp charge value characteristic of 6. If manifested, select one enemy model within 18 inches and visible to the Psyker. That model unit suffers 1 mortal wound. If your army is Battleforged and that model is a character, roll 3d6. If the results are equal to or greater than that model's leadership, you gain 1 command point. Kind of useless. Gaining 1 command point is okay, but not great. Number 4, warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 18 inches and visible to the Psyker. Until the start of your next psychic phase, subtract 1 from that unit's leadership characteristic. Your opponent then rolls 2d6. If the result is greater to that unit's leadership characteristic, then that unit at the start. Then until the start of your next psychic phase, when resolving an attack made by a model, you subtract 1 from the hit roll. That's okay, very situational, and overall seems kind of pointless since most things have leadership 8 or 9, and the average on 2d6 is 7, so kind of useless. Number 5 has a warp charge value characteristic of 6. If manifested, select one enemy unit that cannot fly. and is within 18 inches invisible to the psyker. That unit suffers one mortal wound, and until the start of your next psychic phase. God, my voice sounds terrible right now. Until the start of your next psychic phase, have that unit's movement characteristic and the results of any advance roll or charge roll made for it rounded up. This is probably the best one that they have, in my opinion, because you want to hit Centurions with this, you want to hit Aggressors with this, you want to hit their front lines with this, and just have their unit speed. Again, it's another thing that allows you to actually make it into combat. And number 6, warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select one friendly Space Wolf Phobos unit within 3 inches of the psyker. That unit can immediately move as though it was your movement phase, but cannot fall back as part of... But it cannot fall back as part of its move and must advance. When the advance roll is made for that unit, roll 3d6 and discard 2 of the results. You cannot use this in the same unit, on the same unit more than once per psychic phase. Okay, so you use the one ability that allows you to move again, and then you use this to move again. It's okay. It's not great. I'd have to see it played to see if it was good or not. Now we get the Litanies of Battle. They start off with the Litany of Hate. Litany of Faith is number 1. If inspired, when a model when a friendly Space Wolf unit within 6 inches of this model would lose a wound, has a 5+ feel no pain. You want to cast that on Thunderwolves because that makes them really good. Catechism of Fire, pretty much just the same old Catechism of Fire from all the other ones. Select one friendly Space Wolf unit within 6 inches of this model. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon by a model in this unit against the closest visible enemy unit, you add 1 to the wound roll, which is really, really, really solid. It's just really good. If this litany, number 3, if this litany is inspired, select one friendly Space Wolf unit within 6 inches of this model. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model in this unit, an unmodified roll of a 6, you can make 1 additional attack against the same unit using the same weapon. This additional attack cannot generate another. So again, you use this on your Thunderwolf Cavalry. You need a jump pack to keep up with them, but you use this on Thunderwolf Cavalry. You're hitting, scoring additional hits on 4s. These additional attacks cannot generate another attack. So you can't gain more attacks than that, but it's still more attacks on top of the already more attacks that you're getting with more weapons, which is always good. So your Thunderwolves, the Wolves alone, are looking at about 5 to 6 attacks a piece. So 18 attacks just by Wolves. And then you have the Riders themselves getting about 3 attacks a piece. So you're looking at 3, 6, 9 attacks with Thunderhammers if you have those equipped, or Lightning Claws if you just want Infantry Mulch. Like, they become insane is what I'm saying. Number 4. If this litany is inspired, add 1 to the model's attack and strength characteristic. Then add 1 to the damage characteristic of... Oh my god, you want this one also. None of these are bad so far. None of them are bad. And it doesn't say that one litany... You can roll 1d6 to generate random litany. You can select which litany the model knows. In addition, if your army's battlefords, the attachment knows the Wolf King, the litany is addition. You can cast 2 litanies on 1 unit if you have 2 priests, it looks like. I could be wrong on that, so if I am, please comment in the comment section down below and tell me that I'm wrong, and be all like, Alexis, you butt. You're wrong. And then explain why I'm wrong. Okay, because additional attacks, additional hits, and additional everything is amazing. You want more attacks. Number 5. If this litany is inspiring, select 1 friendly Space Wolf unit within 6 inches of this model. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon by a model in that unit, add 1 to the hit roll. So if you have a chaplain supporting in the back, I know they're called Wolf Priests, but they're chaplains. Supporting in the back, you want to hit a long Fang unit with this, or your suppressor units with this. Canticles of Hate. Use this litany. If this litany is inspire, add 2 to the charge characteristic. The charge roll made for friendly Space Wolf units, by the way, that are then within 6 inches. Not just one unit, units. So you bunch up multiple units and you just charge up the board. They all get to reroll. It's amazing. Or they all get to add 2 to their charge roll, which is insane. In addition, when a friendly Space Wolf unit makes a pile-in or consolidation move within 6 inches of this model, in addition, when a friendly Space Wolf unit makes a pile-in or consolidation move within 6 inches of this model, I just consider it the warp trying to overtake me at this point. Models in that unit can move an additional 3 inches. This is not cumulative with any other abilities that adds to that unit's charge or increases the distance they can pile in or consolidate. So they only can move a max of 6 inches at most with this ability. But that's still really, really, really solid and really good. I really like this. And last one, Space Wolves, the Tale of the Wolf King and the Lords of the Deep, of the Depths. If this litany is inspiring, select one friendly Space Wolf unit within 6 inches of this model. When resolving an attack made by melee weapons by a model in that unit against a monster or vehicle, add 1 to the damage characteristic of your weapons. And if you're in the Assault Doctrine, holy crap. Like, you're going to be demolishing your opponent's vehicles and everything. Whew. Then we have relics. We have a lot of relics. Actually, we don't have too many relics. But we have a good number of relics. There's relics in here. And then we're going to generate a name. We are definitely going to generate a name. We have to. Okay, so relics. The first one, infantry character only. So you can't use it on a cavalry unit unless they are infantry also. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. After resolving the bearer's attacks in the fight phase, but before they consolidate, you can select one enemy unit within 1 inch of the bearer and roll a d6. On a 2+, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. If this ability destroys the enemy character and the bearer is your warlord, treat the bearer as having performed their deed of legend. It's just solid. Like, that is just good. Okay. Talisman of the Storm, Rune Priest only. After resolving the first psychic power of the bearer in your psychic phase, roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 12 inches of the bearer. On 4+, they suffer mortal wound. They suffer 1 mortal wound. Again, really good. Model with power axe only. Relic replaces the power axe with the following: +1 strength, AP -2, 2 damage. Ability: when resolving an attack made with this weapon against a monster or vehicle, it has a damage characteristic of 4. It's okay, but a Thunderhammer is just better. Model equipped with a Mastercrafted Stalker Bolt Rifle only. Actually, Thunderhammers might be better. No, Thunderhammer's better. With the Mastercrafted Stalker Bolt Rifle only, it replaces it with the Storm Song, range 36, heavy 1, strength 6, AP -3, 3 damage, can target characters. Model equipped with a Rune Sword only, this relic replaces the Rune Sword with the following profile. It's a melee weapon, strength +1, AP -4, D3 damage, so strength 5, which is okay, you're wounding most things on 3s. When resolving an attack made with this weapon, you can reroll the wound roll. In addition, if the target is a Psyker, this weapon has a damage characteristic value of 3. So GW is finally starting to realize that Psykers are dangerous. So there's counter Psyker weapons. This you might want to take in between rounds on tournaments. Model with this relic loses a wound, has a 5+ feel no pain is the next one. Runic Armor, a model with this relic has a save characteristic of 2+ and an info save of 5+. Really good on Jump Captain. But I still feel like there's better abilities here, especially like the Mountain Breaker Helm. I think that's better. Might be cool if you can take multiple pieces of war gear. You might just want to spend a few command points to get some really cool stuff on your duders. Morka Teeth Bolts. Let's see. When you give it a model this relic, select one bolt weapon that model is armed with. When the model is chosen to shoot with, you can choose for it to fire the Morka Teeth Bolt. If you do, only make one attack with this weapon, but if a hit is scored, the unit suffers 1 mortal wound, and that unit is marked by Mordka until the end of that turn. When resolving attacks against a unit that is marked by Mordka, reroll wound rolls of 1. It's cool. If you have the extra command point, you might as well. Mastercrafted weapon. When a model is given this relic, select one of that model's weapons. It cannot be a weapon whose profile includes the word mastercrafted. Add 1 to the damage characteristic of that weapon. That weapon is now considered a relic of the Fang. Digi-weapons. When a model with this relic fights, it can make 1 additional attack using the close combat weapon profile seen in the core rulebook. When resolving an attack, if a hit roll is scored, the unit suffers 1 mortal wound, and at the end of the attack sequence, and the attack sequence ends. Not that good. The last 2 abilities are kind of whatever. Champion's Blade replaces a power sword, mastercrafted power sword with this relic. Strength +2, AP -3, damage 2 when resolving attacks made with this weapon. If the bearer is within 3 inches of another friendly Space Wolf character, you can reroll the wound. Pretty good. Wolf Tail Talisman. God damn, that is so furry. I assume it's a... not going to say it, but it's a type of plug. When a psychic test is taken for an enemy model within 18 inches of this model, with this relic, subtract 2 from the result. It's okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then we have the points and the name. So let's go ahead and generate a name. I should have a D6 here somewhere. Okay. Let's see what my wolfity wolf wolf yiffity yiff yiff name is going to be. All right. I'm rolling a D10, by the way, because I have 2 D10s near me because I play Dark Heresy. So we got a 1 and a 6. So 16 is Urk. 5 and 6, so 56 is Fellhammer. Ork Fellhammer is my Space Wolf name. It's pretty neat. And then in the next video, we will be getting to the Orks. So overall, I see the appeal of the Space Wolves. They have a lot of elite hitters, unlike the Blood Angels, which have a lot of hitters. So it's interesting to see what they're going to be doing and how they're going to be affecting the meta. Personally, I don't see anything that's game-breaking and like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. You must take this special ability. I'm not seeing anything that's like, this makes them meta tier 1, tier 0. They are the best of the best. It's more like they're there. They're equivalent to that of other Space Marine chapters that don't really get to be seen, like Salamanders or Iron Hands, especially after the nerf, which is a huge nerf. I feel bad for Iron Hand players who were playing Iron Hands prior to the nerf, where you guys were like, wow, we actually have a good codex, and then GW nerfed it into the ground because it was too powerful. I mean, if you want cheap dreadnoughts right now, they're literally dirt cheap on eBay. But overall, I'm seeing it as like a 7 out of 10. It's okay. It's pretty good. It does its job very well. And it's not like broken. And it's not like, oh my god, must take. But it's not bad. It's definitely like a fun, playable army that feels like you're playing a Space Wolf army instead of, well, being in last place out of all the Marines. So, interesting to see. I want to know your thoughts. What do you guys think about all of this? Do you think the Space Wolves are better than what I've suggested? Do you see other strategies that I have missed? Comment all of that in the comment section down below. Also, because I know you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Check it out. I do reviews, I do strategies, I do beginner's guides, I do battle reports, I do news, and overall, I have wicked cosplay. So, on top of all that, check out the channel, subscribe to the channel. As always, I'm NornQueenAlexis. I love you guys. Bye.